A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus went across to the Sea of Galilee. A large crowd followed him because they saw the signs he was performing on the sick. Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. The Jewish feast of the Passover was near. When Jesus raised his eyes and saw the large crowd was coming to him, he said to Philip, "Where can we buy enough food for them to eat?" He said this to test him because he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 200 days' wages worth of food would not be enough for each of them to have a little. One of the disciples, Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good are these for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people recline." Now there was a great deal of grass in that place. So the men reclined, about 5,000 in number. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed them to those who were reclining, and also as much of the fish as they wanted. When they had their fill, he said to his disciples, "Gather the fragments left over so that nothing will be wasted." So they collected them and filled 12 wicker baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves that had been more than they could eat. When the people saw the sign he had done, they said, "This is truly the prophet, the one who is to come into the world." Since Jesus knew that they were going to come and carry him off to make him king, he withdrew again to the mountain alone. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the course of human history, we human beings have learned many significant lessons that have enabled us to survive and to prosper. And one of the most important is cooperation and working for the common good. Where people live with a feeling of animosity toward one another, or where competition gets out of hand, everyone suffers. Where people are mutually supportive and learn to share, everyone benefits. This is the fundamental rule of any thriving family, community, or society. In this morning's gospel, Jesus performed a miracle of multiplying a few loaves and fishes, and thousands were fed. It must have been impressive for the disciples to see the bread and fish multiplying before their eyes. But did it actually happen like that? Did fish and loaves of bread really multiply in baskets? Is the miracle the point of the passage? Perhaps it is also likely that we're getting a lesson in the power and the effectiveness of sharing. When sharing rather than greed is the rule, people prosper. In our contemporary society, though, real sharing is often done grudgingly, and competitiveness has been a kind of mania. Business talks easily about a dog-eat-dog world, or it's a jungle out there. Those phrases are routinely spoken as reflections of the way things are. We are very property conscious in our consumer culture and are extremely sensitive and protective about what we consider ours. And with what results? Does society generally improve with rugged individualism and aggressive competition? Do we feel more secure with all of our possessions? Do we actually sleep easily knowing that the car is an alarm system? Are we more at ease walking the streets at night knowing the police force has been beefed up with better communications? Have we ever felt safe from our enemies abroad, knowing that our weapons are superior? One of life's greatest ironies is that stingy people never seem to have enough, and that generous people never run out of things to share or give away. In well-to-do communities, there are overstocked kitchens. And children complain, there's nothing to eat in this house. But in homes of the poor, there is often enough to go around, even with unexpected company. Mother Teresa tells a story of how once in India she came across a family that hadn't eaten for days. It was a Hindu family. And she took a bowl, put rice in it, and gave it to the family. And what happened next surprised her. Before she knew where she was, the mother of the family had divided the rice into two halves, and then took half of it to the family next door, which happened to be a Muslim family. Seeing this, Mother Teresa turned to the mother and asked, "How much will you have left over? Is there not even enough for yourselves?" And the woman replied simply, "But they haven't eaten for days either." That, Mother Teresa said, takes greatness. Her greatness consists in being able to look beyond her own need. Attitude is all important here. In the gospel reading, Jesus gives us an example of the miracle of sharing. Can we not suspect that it was Jesus' willingness to share his few loaves and fishes that encouraged others to do the same? Everyone sharing the loaves and fishes that eventually allowed everyone to have something to eat. That's the miracle. And we should not miss its significance for our lives.